Here we are again. This is part 3 already. Part 3. Here we go. And we're talking about the ultrasound experiment. So some of the mothers had an ultrasound, and it's true, Allie, for whatever reason, the women who had the ultrasound had heavier babies. Did they take into account the placebo effect in this experiment? What do you think, Bailey?
Did they take it into account?
Yeah. Remember, I asked you to try to define.
No.
Right,
Because they didn't get any fake ultrasound.
Right.
Except, it would really suck if you thought you were getting an ultrasound and then they just showed you a picture of some random baby and you really thought that was your baby.
That was the same anyway.
Well, is there a way to do it that doesn't disappoint either
You thought you were
one?
gonna have a girl, and then you ended up having a boy. Or the other
That's
way
when-
around.
I love little babies.
So is there a way that you could design this experiment so that nobody's disappointed? All right, let's take all the people who don't care whether it's a boy or a girl. They don't want to know. They want to be surprised. So you're not going to show them the screen. So you're not going to show them the screen.
I'm fine with being surprised when I find out. It doesn't have to be a surprise in the moment of agony.
I want to.
It won't be agony once it's out.
Yeah, that'll be sure. And believe me, it's not agony then.
Aww.
Anyway.
I'm hearing numbers.
If I give you the ultrasound and don't show you the screen, do you know whether the machine is even on or not? You don't. So what if I give you the ultrasound and the screen is and the machine is on? It's exactly quiet. It's like this on your stomach. You don't hear anything.
You don't want to.
So if the person,
Even if you did hear something,
if there's a
it can
group
replicate the
that took
sound.
the ultrasound and didn't know whether the machine was on or not, and the other group, so then it would be an example of taking into effect the placebo effect, taking into account the placebo effect. So that would have been a better design, because the women who took the ultrasound could have responded in some way to increase the weight of their babies. Was this experiment double blind? It wasn't even single blind, so how could it be double blind? So, of course it is not. Is there a way to design it so it could be double blind?
I guess.
So that the doctor could somehow not know that they gave the ultrasound?
I mean, the doctor
could
could have
know.
a fake thing, and they're showing a fake video on the screen, and he's just like, "Oh,
Or
look
he
at
could be,
that."
or they could say they could blindfold him.
Yeah, but
Yeah, because then-
when you move it
Doctor.
around, it moves. So like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
thinking.
think what they mean,
After you're really on top of that.
obviously
Yeah.
the person doing the ultrasound is going to know whether they gave the ultrasound or not. But we're talking about at the end,
Ouch.
at the compare date, with a person who weighed the babies.
They could be blind.
Yeah, they would not need to know
It
whether
doesn't matter,
there
though.
was an ultrasound or not.
The doctor is still part of it, though.
You can't really be
It wouldn't be
biased
a real
on the
double
weight
blind
of
because
the
the doctors
child.
are.
Oh my
The doctor would.
Doctors don't do the weighing.
You can't be
They
biased.
deliver
but
and they'll
but
say,
doing
see
the-
you later.
No, but they don't.
But you can't be biased on the weight of
I'm
the
not talking about
child.
the
It's
weighing.
like,
Yes,
this
you
child
can.
weighs
Yes, you
9,
can.
but I'm actually going to say
The-
weighs 6.
Yes, you can. You can say,
30 seconds and injured 3 of my joints.
What?
right now? All right.
No,
You
the
need a
doctors are the
will.
ones that need to be blind, not the weighing people.
No.
Doctors can't be blind.
I know they can't be, but the weighing people doesn't matter if they're blind because.
Well,
The
that's
only way you
what
make
it-
them blind is you
Caleb, that's
blindfold
what a double blind
No, that's
means.
the person-
At the end, the doing the comparing.
No, but by
that's
then
what a
it doesn't
double blind-
matter.
Yeah, well,
It's about the because they were talking about the psychological thing of seeing the baby. Obviously, the attitude of the doctor is going to affect that, not the attitude of the person weighing your baby after it's born.
well, that's what double blind is referring to. The person taking the comparison.
How is the person knowing how much
Well,
knowing whether how is that going to affect anything if they're just weighing the baby?
the weight, as Allie was saying, it's
I
digital.
wanna
It
be a baby
says
weigher.
20 point.
I won't be able to hold it.
You
for
should
minute
be a
and get rid
baby
of it,
weigher,
though.
but you'd have to do a lot of medical things just to be a baby weigher, probably.
But I could just hold the baby for like a minute and then put it down and give it back.
All right. Well,
and then
whether
hold
you
it
think
and
a
give it
double
back.
blind is
It's not
important in this case or not doesn't matter. What you need to understand is what a double blind would be in this case. So it doesn't matter whether it would make a good idea or not. You just need to be able to identify what a double blind example would be. All right, let's go on number 3. Describe an improved design for this equipment, for this experiment. So I think we've already done that. We've talked about turning the machine off, doing some of the ultrasounds, turning the machine on, doing some of the ultrasounds. The recipients don't know, and at the end, the person who weighs the baby doesn't know. And that's the
It
improved
doesn't even matter
design.
about the person weighing the baby. It could be
Right.
a singly blind and do the same exact thing.
So we now know how to take the placebo effect into account when we're designing an experiment. Let's look at an experiment, another aspect of experiments. Suppose you design this good experiment, it's controlled, it's comparative, you've taken care of the placebo effect, and in the end, your results were 2% higher than the control group. What would you conclude? If your control group was a certain level, your treatment group was 2% higher.
Not much.
Do you say it wasn't worth it? You wouldn't make any conclusions on 2%? All right. So we're going to delve into that idea for the rest of our class. And the question you'd be asking yourself is the observed effect large enough that I can make a valid conclusion?
It's like 50%.
Right,
Or
yeah, all right.
30%.
So you're saying maybe if just by chance, not the treatment, but just by chance there's going to be variation. So maybe that 2% just happened by chance and had nothing to do with the treatment that you administered in your experiment. So we're going to look at an example like that and finish today by drawing that out. So let's say we have 48 people. So you can take notes on this experiment because you're going to have to record some data. Say we have 48 people.
I felt it.
And we're going to put them in driving simulators. Have you ever been in a driving simulator?
No.
Yeah.
Is it really real or not so much?
Not really.
Not really. Well, these driving simulators are like almost real. So you have
I've
48
been in a driving simulator.
in driving
We were
simulators.
in a simulator for going into space, remember?
You did
Everyone else
that?
went crazy. Like really.
Everyone else was like going like, yeah, people like apparently like most people like get really sick and everything.
Alright.
We're like fine.
So you're going to instruct these people to get in their simulators and drive, and they're going to drive for quite a while, like an hour and a half or something. It's quite a long drive. They're going to drive for like an hour and a half in the simulators, and they are going to divide them into 2 groups. And right before they start driving, you'll say, in about an hour, there's a rest stop, and I want you to pull off in the rest stop. So you're a new driver, you've driven an hour, get off. And so they say, yeah. So that's all it said. So then they divide the 48 people into 24 and 24. This group, they allowed to talk on the cell phone.
It's a simulator.
Still.
And this simulator is special. It's a 2-person simulator. And they're allowed to talk to a passenger. The whole time they can chat. So one's talking, they're driving alone in the simulator, and they're talking on the cell phone. And these people are driving with a co-passenger or another person, and they can chat with the person, the passenger. So, guess how many stopped at the rest stop here, and guess how many stopped at the
Wait,
rest
they
stop
didn't all-
here.
How hard is it to stop at a rest stop?
passenger and 10 for cell phone.
It turns out
5
that
in each.
the ones that did not stop, there were, let's see, the ones on the cell phone, where's the results here?
Wait, why couldn't they just all stop at the rest stop? How hard is it to stop at the rest stop?
Yeah, they
They're talking
forgot.
to
It was an
us.
hour later, they were
They
chatting.
just forgot?
Yeah.
That was the only thing they were told.
All right,
You're on the
of
cell phone.
the,
At least the passenger can say, "Oh, pull over."
Well, so can the person on the cell phone. I can
The
I
person
can
that's
sense that you're coming to help rest stop.
All right, here's the
Pull
no
over.
stoppers. I found the number. For those talking on the cell phones, they did not stop. There, of those 24, there's quite a few that didn't stop. There were,
How many?
I'm trying to read my.
I
I think
my
there were
notes.
14 that didn't stop.
No stop
How
cell.
strong?
There were
So
12.
strong.
12.
How
Half
nice?
of them didn't stop.
Oh, mighty.
All right. So those who were talking to a fellow passenger. So no stop
I
passenger.
bet it was 4 of them.
Almost. 3.
3.
All right.
Wow.
So what do you think of that? So
There's
let's
also
how many? What's
variables.
12 from 24? So 12 did stop.
And 21.
Stopped. And 21 stopped. So, how about this? This looks more than the 2% I just mentioned earlier. This looks like a significant difference between these numbers. So 12 people forgot to stop out of 24.
Did they have
who
a
were talking
placebo
on the
person in the car?
phone. And over here, 3 who were chatting with a passenger. 3 out of 24
They weren't actually
forgot to stop. Do you think if
It was a
if there was no treatment?
Not a real person.
I mean, if it was
They're
just
actually
random, would the numbers be this different? So we're gonna prove that. So what I have on these cards here, there's 48 cards representing the 48 people. We know that altogether, we know if I'm going to divide. We know that 33 stopped, and how many did not stop total? 15. So I've made cards like that. So out of the 24, I have 33 yeses, they stopped, and I have 15 no's, they did not stop. So would you shuffle them really well?
What are we doing with the video then?
Are there numbers on the cards?
All right, did they
there
hear
anything
how
on
we're
the
setting up the
Are there numbers
experiment?
on the card?
Are they
Yeah.
all just blank?
No, it's just yes and no, whether they stopped or didn't.
Are there words on the cards?
No, yes and no. Y and N.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take the rest of the class, or for a while now, and actually shuffle these cards. And we have 48 of them, and we have them proportional to what was observed. We found that 15 did not stop, so I took 15 cards and put an N on it, and 33 did stop. So we're going to take those cards and put a yes on it. So when we're going to shut down after I tell you what we're going to do. Tell them at the same time. We're going to divide those cards into 2 piles. There's going to be 24 on each. The one on the left is going to be the cell phone people, and we're going to look at that group and see how many. So this is just by chance. And when the treatment was administered, the cell phone, 12 did not stop. So we're going to see if those numbers ever, anything close to 12, ever appears in our cards just by chance. We're going to do that a number of times and record how many we failed to stop. So after that, we'll work on homework if there's any time, and I will be collecting the homework. We didn't get a chance to talk about it, but that's okay. So over and out for now.
Enough is enough.
Enough is enough.
Okay.